I'm sure many of you are already aware that two Israeli embassy staff members that were dating one another were shot dead by a pro-Palestine T-word individual named Elias Rodriguez. And as he gunned down these two innocent Israeli members outside of the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. during an event, Elias was yelling and screaming the chant that we've become very much aware of: free, free Palestine. We can now officially say that the chant that is being yelled and screamed at all these pro-Palestine protests, if you want to call them a protest, I think it's more like a death chant or a death cult all combined together. And a lot of them don't even know why they're there in the first place. But anyway, Elias decided to chant as he gunned down and unalive these two innocent Israelis, free Palestine, which means we can now officially say chant. It is considered something that is extremely horrible. And I'll ask the question, how are you even trying to free Palestine, Elias, by gunning down the likes of two Israelis? And that just goes to show you the level of hate and vitriol that is being spewed in all of these protests. If you want to call them a protest, by all means. And I'm not against protests. What I am against is a bunch of information that is being spread around the Western world to hate Israel because Israel retaliated against Hamas invading and wiping out 1,300 innocent Israelis. And now, because of the false information that is being spread, the propaganda and the lies that is being shared by himself, because of that, we now have our very own homegrown attack on US soil. I'm in Australia. In Melbourne, Australia, we have protests like this every single weekend. They're on the Melbourne streets. They're shutting down businesses, you name it. They are incredibly violent. Whereas the Jewish people doing a counter protest, they get always moved on. They can't actually have a counter protest for their very own safety. Now, this event in particular goes to show you that Elias Rodriguez was indoctrinated. He was lied to. And now, as a result, two innocent Israelis that were dating each other and at an event, their lives were tragically cut short by this lunatic and this actual T-word individual. And we can now say that free Palestine is considered a T-word, a chant. Damn well right. So many conservatives took money to spew Palestinian propaganda. Now Jews are being shot in the head on the streets of America because so many podcasters sold out for a check from Islamists. Hope you all are proud of yourself for promoting the rabid Palestinian movement. Shameful. That's from Laura Loomer. I've been making another video about these very same podcasters that are being accused by lots of Jewish people, and not just Jewish people, I might add, but conservatives. They're all saying they're at fault because they're the ones that are spewing the hateful information, the hateful rhetoric. You want to free Palestine? Go over to Palestine. Don't chant in the streets, free Palestine, because it's a war chant, it's a war cry, and now it's considered a terror chant. Why else would Elias go out and think, I'm going to free Palestine by taking the lives of two innocent Israelis? How does that work exactly? It's because you had loads of podcasters spreading these lies and this hate and this vitriol that the Jews are evil. The Jews are at fault for everything bad in society. Instead of looking at the actual facts, you have Jews all around the world that are being persecuted for what exactly? For being Jewish. Yes, you are allowed to criticize the Jews. I believe that 100%. Yes, they are not this protected group. They should not be a protected group. But the problem that I've got is you don't see Israelis in the West going after Palestinians and shooting them in the head. Israelis in the West are peaceful people. They're going about their business, and what happened was senseless, a senseless act of violence. And yet the mainstream media are trying to spin this, as they always do. I haven't seen many mainstream media sources, I should say, report the truth about this. You can't hide the fact that Elias was chanting Free Palestine. He was indoctrinated. One of the witnesses stated that the shooter chanted, "There's only one solution in the revolution," as he was being carried out by police. Gee, why did he shout that exactly? Why does he think that there's only one solution to wipe out all the Jewish people? There's only one solution. Okay. Mainstream media, why didn't you report on this? It's a witness. The only one that did was Fox News. Funny that. Elias Rodriguez from the Party of Socialism and Liberation argued that the murder of Lachlan McDonald and the Chicago bid for an Amazon headquarters are two separate issues. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Not only was he part of the Free Palestine nut job movement, he was also a proud socialist and a libertarian. Interesting, isn't it? Now he's going to be known as a T-word individual. And you have Representative Ilhan Omar confronted and asked, are you not going to condemn the murder of the two Israeli embassy staff members? And she goes, I'm going to go now. I'm not going to condemn the murders. Why would I possibly do that? I don't have time for this. But you know what, this event, this person, more than likely, because I see in the comments of Candace's videos, Ian Carroll, Dave Smith, Kanye, Tucker, Jake Shields, Dan Bilzerian, Tate, I see in their comment section the amount of hate and vitriol from a load of people that actually side with the Palestinians that happen to be Muslims. Why is it that you've got Candace, who claims to be a Christian, that is actually siding with Muslims? Actually siding and supporting terror. Dave Smith, the exact same thing. Oh, but we'll put it under the guise of innocent children being wiped out by Israel, but not really looking at the actual reality of who started this and how is it going to end. I personally think war is horrible. But the problem that we've got to find a solution to, which is very hard to find, but I don't want terror to exist, because if we have it existing, you're going to end up with more dingbats like this going out in the streets and committing the exact same heinous acts. You've got to get rid of and wipe out terror. And you know, the thing is, Israel wants this war to end, and they've laid out their terms. Free the hostages. All of the Hamas leaders need to go into exile. They need to demilitarize Gaza or anywhere around that area where Palestinians reside. You can't have them having any kind of power whatsoever anymore. But you know what? Hamas could end this completely, give back the remaining hostages and surrender. But they won't do that. You don't hear any of the Palestinian nut jobs running around the street yelling Free Palestine talking about this, do you? No. All they're too busy chanting is Free Palestine, but don't actually come up with any solutions to Free Palestine. They're nut jobs. They're idiots. They've got no common sense whatsoever, and they think the only solution for them is found in violence and found in taking out and taking the lives of Jewish people. This is like 1939 all over again, isn't it? The amount of hate and vitriol to the Jewish people in their very cities. And the West is like, what's going on? I'm going, what's going on? The mainstream media won't report the truth. In fact, a vast majority of the stories that we have on the Israel versus Hamas conflict are all negative against Israel. When Israel does something good, you don't hear anything about it. But when Israel bombs a hospital whereby Hamas has lots of their weaponry, oh, how dare you? How dare you do that? I have purposely done my very best to stay out of this entire conflict. Sure, I have an opinion about it. I'm no expert. I haven't been there. But still, I trust the ones that have been there enough to know, like Douglas Murray, for example, enough to know that there's only really one way we're going to deal with this. And that is for terror to no longer exist. How does that happen exactly? I'm sure that there are people out there that are a lot wiser than me. And sure, the murder of innocent babies is horrible as well. But have you seen any of the videos of the young kids in Palestine that hate the Jews, that are chanting, death to America, death to the Jews, death to Christians? They're chanting all of that. Have you seen? It's all homegrown. They're indoctrinated. Hate is taught, is it not? So what do you expect Israel to do when they drop pamphlets saying that get out while you still can? If you truly want peace, get out while you still can. If you are a peaceful person, get out. But they chose to stay. Probably because Hamas forced them to stay. Sure, Israel has done some bad things, if you want to say that. But you got to look at who started it. And you also got to look at what Israel is trying to do in order to bring about peace. Not an easy thing to deal with. Anyway, that's enough from me. But you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.